drives me out of my mind. Yeah, when my baby kisses me, chills run up and down my spine. And my baby, she's alright. Oh, my baby's clean out of sight. Don't you know that she is? She's some kind of wonderful. She's some kind of wonderful. Yes, she is. She's some kind of wonderful. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, is there anybody got a sweet little woman like mine? There got to be somebody got a sweet little woman like mine. Yeah. Now, can I get a witness? 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 I'm talking about my baby. She's some kind of wonderful. Talking about my baby. She's some kind of wonderful. Talking about my baby. She's some kind of wonderful. Talking about my baby. She's some kind of wonderful. Talking about my baby. She's some kind of wonderful. Yeah, yeah. She's some kind of wonderful. Talking about my baby. She's some kind of wonderful. She's some kind of wonderful.
It's time for the truth, and you found the home of it right here. Here's your truth-telling, freedom-loving, flag-waving host, John James.
Well. Hello. How are you? Happy Wednesday. You're right in the middle of the week here. Boy, the week's gone by fast. I had Monday off, that's why. But it's good to be here. Great to be with you. Talking about freedom, talking about the Constitution, talking about the future of America, and hopefully it's a good one. It all hinges, it hinges on a bunch of things. Obviously, it hinges on the fraud that is being investigated right now. It hinges on the U.S. Senate, which we picked up another seat yesterday in North Carolina for the U.S. Senate. And what else? No, there's a lot of things. We'll get to it. I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get a lot of stuff to get to today. Dr. John Garofalo, Dr. G, is going to be here at 9:30. Now, if you have a question for him, get it in early. I'm going to check the post. I posted earlier on my Facebook page, so if you have a question and posted it there, I will check that out. If you have a question you want to ask the good doctor who's here at 9:30 with us, any medical question you want to ask, if he can answer it, he will. He'll give you the best advice he can over the phone. Obviously, this isn't like a televisit, but you're not paying a deductible either. You might get a little idea of what's going on. You may get some recommendations of what you should do. You might have him put your mind at ease a little bit. I mean, it's all good. And the good thing about it, it's on the radio. It's free. We do not charge for anything. If anybody wants to sponsor Dr. G's visits on Wednesday, you're more than welcome to do that. This is the lazy man's way of making a sales call. I just do it on the radio. I can do that. I don't have to cold call. I don't have to travel. I just say, you want to sponsor something on this show? You want to sponsor this show? We've got a sponsor here, but we always welcome more. We've got the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. We have Moody's Collision Center. We have Kennebec Electric and Lighting. But we can always use more, and Dr. G needs a sponsor. Maybe Maine General or Northern Light will sponsor us. I don't know. It's 9:18. Let's start the day with a look at this day in history. It is, what day is it today? Today is the, I lost track, it's the 11th, right? 11/11 on this day in history. Here's the Associated Press.
November 11th, 1918. In Europe, World War I comes to an end after 4 years of fighting as the Allies in Germany sign an armistice. But peace does not last, as a second world war engulfs that continent as well as Asia some 2 decades later. 1620. Pilgrims aboard the Mayflower, anchored off Massachusetts, sign a compact calling for a body politic. That document becomes the foundation for the Pilgrims' government after they land in Plymouth. 2004. Yasser Arafat, the longtime Palestinian leader, dies at a Paris military hospital at age 75. 1922. Kurt Vonnegut Jr., who wrote Slaughterhouse-Five and Cat's Cradle, is born in Indianapolis. And 1974.
I'm the king of the world!
Actor Leonardo DiCaprio, star of movies including Titanic and Gangs of New York, is born in Los Angeles. Today in history, November 11th. Tim McGuire, The Associated Press.
Well, okay, there you go. Happy Veterans Day. Happy birthday, Marines, yesterday. I think 249 years. My dad's birthday, November 7th, this week. So, and my dad, my dad was a Marine. So this is a pretty big week. I on my Facebook page, I get my picture of my dad and his boy, he looks proud in that picture. My wife picked that up for him at Togus, that jacket. And boy, when he wore it, he sure looked proud. He was a Marine, my dad. So he is my profile picture today on Facebook. So happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Thank you for offering to give it all for the Constitution of the United States of America and our freedom, something the progressive left does not stand for. They do not stand with you because they do not like the Constitution. You know who they are. They're angry now because they're being called out by fellow Democrats who say they are why Democrats lost seats in the House of Representatives. They don't like socialism. They don't like defund the police. They don't like any of it. We love our veterans. We love freedom. We love the Constitution. And we will stand up for the Constitution. We've got your backs, my veteran friends. America has your backs. Real Americans have your backs. It's 9:21 right here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Johnny James, your old buddy, here with Dr. G coming up at 9:30. If you have a question for Dr. G, come on in, bring it in. We'll ask him. You can text it in, 207-441-6969. 207-441-6969. And you can also, no, you can't call in because I don't like doing the conference calling on this system because it sucks. I'm going to be real. I shouldn't have said that. I realized when it's live radio, I've got to learn that this is not a recording. The system is good. It's just, it needs to be tuned up. All right. Let me just say that. No, it's a great system. It has a hard time handling two callers at once, as you have heard. So anyway, you can text us or you can Facebook us. Just go to my Facebook page or any of the ones we are streaming on, American Women Who Bear Arms, Legacy 1160 or my page. And we've shared with a bunch of other pages, but I'm not checking those pages out. So you'll have to go to one of the pages I just mentioned. If you want to ask the doctor or me a question, by all means, feel free. Before we get underway with the doctor here, we've still got a few minutes before we have to take a break. So let me see, what have I neglected to do? I've neglected to get my show prep up in front of me here. You give me just 5 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Okay, I lied. It's going to take me a little bit longer. And Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. I think. Okay, what is going on here? All right, hang on. Somebody signed me out of my my account. That is unacceptable. This is my browser. It's my browser. I'm the only guy who uses Opera in the place. Hold on. This is embarrassing. We may be out of time by the time. I told you 5 seconds, and look at what's happening here. I am so sorry. All right. So here I am. There we are. And where is my show prep? Okay, this just, I'm sorry, this drives me crazy. All right. Well, we'll get to it, I guess. We'll take a break. I'll be right. I'm flustered now. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home. No, hang in there. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
My insurance kept going up and up and up and up.
I was getting a lot of mail about Medicare.
I could never have navigated through the loopholes.
These Mainers found help at Senior Planning Center, which represents all major Medicare health plans.
Senior Planning Center was a lifesaver.
Senior Planning Center did it all.
Gave me all my options and signed me up with what I needed within an hour.
Open enrollment runs October 15th through December 7th. Call 223-6565. Help when it matters most. SeniorPlanningCenter.com.
What a fantastic time to shop for fall items at Townline Antiques, where you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. Townline Antiques carries vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and so much more. If you haven't been recently, there are new booths and lots of new items, including a full booth of Christmas goodies for anyone who wants to spread some early cheer. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassaboro Town Line.
Why settle for just one day of discounts when Haidt Chrysler Dodge Jeep's Black Friday sales event will get you the best price on a new vehicle all November long? Stop by today. Haidt Chrysler Dodge Jeep, 507 Liquid Road, Clowes Corner, Madison.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Areas of fog this morning with some sun to start the day. Expect increasing clouds with a chance for showers this evening and tonight. One last warm day today, highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Clouds to developing sun tomorrow, highs in the 50s. Back to the 40s Friday and the weekend. Chance for showers Friday, mostly sunny Saturday.
Welcome back. It's 9:27 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. And Joe Biden declared it yesterday. Joe Biden in Delaware. Where else? So that's the only place he goes. That should make you nervous right there. He doesn't get out of the house much. In Delaware, Joe Biden said, "This election is over." To which the nurse said, "Of course it is. Now let's change that diaper." I'm sorry, I scratch my head. This guy, he makes me scratch my head. And records, new record show. We're looking at this voter fraud all over the place. Well, we've got a big segment on that coming up. Very interesting stuff. Record show that dead people voted in New York City. Now, you're familiar with early voting? This is what's known as late voting. Well, think of it. No, it's true. You're dead. I mean, it's little too late. 928 on Legacy 1160. Dr. John Garofalo. As I live and I breathe. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
Fair to middling.
First question. How's your friend?
Of the 4 cases that they reported yesterday.
Oh, no.
He was one of the 4.
Oh, my word. I am so sorry.
Yeah, well.
Was he an older gentleman?
He was only 70 years old. He just had
70
his
years
birthday
old.
a little while ago.
Wow. And he died as a direct result of COVID-19.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, he had underlying conditions, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's horrible news. So
it just gets back to the point I've been emphasizing for a long time.
Yeah.
Put on your damn mask.
Well, there's a new. If I'm not mistaken, I heard the news coming in this morning, and I've got the Sentinel up right here. I had to try to find it. But maybe you know about this. Is it now a mandate, according to the governor, that you wear a mask in restaurants at your table unless you are actually eating?
I have no idea about that. All I know is that she made it a mandate that you wear masks in public and in public places.
Yeah.
Including outside when you're in public places.
You don't have to put one on as soon as you leave your house, right?
No.
Now, how about,
if I'm parked when I park at the grocery store, you put your mask on before you walk in.
All right.
If I'm going into a store, or if I'm in a shopping mall, the only place that you don't have to be wearing anytime you're indoors, you have to have a mask on.
All right.
If you are in a crowded situation outdoors, you have to have a mask on.
Right.
So that'd be like in a parking lot and stuff where you could be going by people. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And the only exception to wearing a mask indoors is when you're at home in your own house.
Right in your own house.
Yeah. I mean, on your own property, you're fine.
And how about?
Like for instance, if you're out, like down here on our road and stuff, it's not a very busy road, but it is a private road. But even still, or if you're out walking, but you should have your mask with you. And if you wind up, becoming near someone else, you got to put your mask on.
Okay, but I mean, what you want to go for a walk down the road, and there's nobody around, or a bike ride.
You don't need to wear your mask.
Yeah.
But if you're approaching someone, then you need to put a mask on.
Well, you know what I usually do, and I don't do that. But what I do is I always move way away.
Yeah, that's okay too. But one of the problems is, especially with when you're riding your bike and stuff like that, and if you're really breathing hard,
yeah,
your ability to spread particles is much improved.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that. But if you're riding a bike alone, I mean, you're fine.
Right, but like if you were coming up on a bunch of people walking or something, you ride by them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I just hold my breath.
Well,
could do that.
You could do that, I suppose.
But anyway, I look like I ride a bike. So that's just hypothetical. But again, I'm so sorry about your friend. That's too bad.
Well,
now,
it is too bad.
So
this is one of those things that was probably unnecessary because I know that he always wore his mask. He didn't really go anywhere that was super dangerous. But the only thing we can figure out is where he might have gotten is actually at the transfer station. At the Belgrade transfer station, we have this thing called the Good Barn.
Yeah.
Things that you want to get rid of, but really you really don't want to just throw. And we put them in the so-called Good Barn, and you can go. If you see something in there that you want, you can take it. And Jerry was very much a craft person.
Yeah.
I mean, he did a lot of stuff, and other things that you and I might look at and say, "Well, that's garbage." He figured out how to make something out of it, You know?
Yeah, no, we have a place like that in China. They actually closed it, and in China they closed it.
They had ours closed for a long time, but then toward the end of the summer when they were starting to open things up, it opened up again.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing we can figure is that perhaps someone, a lot of people at the transfer station don't wear masks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of those things you never know. I mean, unfortunately, you'll never know how or where he got it. Could have been a surface. Could it not have been, he picked up a piece of fruit or a can that somebody in the supermarket had just touched, because it does survive on surfaces. I mean, it could be a million different ways to get it.
Yeah, it's possible, but
yeah.
But it's just I don't know.
Well, it's sad.
But
it's just tragic.
To the point about everybody's freedom depends on everybody.
Yeah.
Allowing them to have their freedom, and that's where the mask comes down to.
No, I understand, and you have a very personal story to tell now, and it's. I wish you didn't, but it's very poignant, and it's maybe an impetus for people to be more careful. So there is that.
So, I hope you realize that I really haven't changed my tune because of this.
Right.
My tune. It's just more. It's like I've told a lot of people. These are things I've always believed, but now it really put a face on it.
Right. Yeah. Putting a face on it is right.
So and that's the worst part.
Yep. My nephew, who is young, he is doing better. He did have it, or does have it. I don't know what the I know the incubation period can be a couple of weeks, but I'm not sure how long it lasts. I'm checking the texts here right now. Good morning, happy Veterans Day to all vets. That's very nice.
Yeah, those are going to be the next words out of my mouth too, to say happy Veterans Day to everyone.
Oh, all right. Let me see here. I'm checking a couple of. I got a question for you here, I think.
Oh, good.
Are you all set? Is there anything? Before we leave this topic, the COVID-19 topic, because it is rearing its ugly head again. But the good news is Pfizer has said there is going to be a vaccine that's 90% effective.
Right. And, we've had that conversation before about how in order for a vaccine to really work, you have to have anywhere from 85% or above immunity within the population.
Yeah.
And so, but then think about it with a vaccine that's say if it's plus percent effective. Let's just go with 90% because that's easy.
Yep.
So that means that if you want to, you have to immunize somewhere around 95 to 97% of the population in order to get to that 85%. 90 times 90 is only 81, right?
Right. Yep.
So if you only do 90% of the population, you're only going to get the 81%.
81%. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So so that's why so when people say, "Oh, good," but that still means you have to immunize a whole lot of people.
Right, but I mean, if you immunize, if you have 81% effectiveness for 90% of the people, if that's the deal, then you've got 81% of the people who supposedly, theoretically, aren't going to be able to catch it or spread it. Is that correct? Is that accurate?
That's always a big question.
Yeah.
Because although with antibodies, the antibodies might protect you from becoming infected.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily. Antibodies are funny creatures. Okay. Some of them work within our serum and they keep it from spreading around in the body, but some of them work on surfaces like the lining of the nasal passage and stuff like that. And so it's possible that you could another good example of that is polio. Polio actually is actually passed through the bowel, and it actually, early polio vaccines did two things. They created antibodies that prevented it from being able to establish itself in the gut, and help prevent and antibodies that protected you within the body itself.
Mm.
So, the answer to that question, I know it's a long-winded answer, but the fact is, yeah, presumably it would make a difference.
Okay.
But we don't know that it would necessarily prevent being able to spread it to someone who is not immune at all.
Right. But I mean, it's like the flu. I mean, we don't know how effective the flu vaccine is because there are so many different strains of flu out there, but it does help. And that's the big thing we need right now is something that is going to help a large number of people. And this, arguably, we don't know. We haven't seen it in action yet, really, except in tests. This arguably or theoretically will make a big difference. So
it could potentially make a huge difference.
Yeah.
The problem is going to be, of course, is getting it distributed. And the other big problem with this vaccine is that it's one of those ones that has to be kept in very cold storage.
Okay.
Which means, like liquid nitrogen level temperatures, really cold.
Wow.
And so that's a problem for distribution. I'm not sure it's liquid nitrogen level temperatures. I should read.
Now, how cold is how cold would that be? Liquid nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen is like, oh God, I can't remember.
Is it?
That stuff that you freeze warts with? In the
yeah.
Office?
Right, yeah.
You know how cold that stuff is?
That is
stuff you put a rubber ball in it and it freezes it solid. You drop it on the floor and it shatters.
Right.
That's how cold liquid nitrogen.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So
but anyway, that said, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure it's that cold. It may only be, dry ice temperature kind of thing. Stuff that you can achieve in a freezer.
So why does it have to be kept so? And will that be?
It's not stable. Because it's not. It doesn't remain stable.
Okay.
If it gets warmer than that, once you have to warm it up to give it, obviously.
Right.
But once it's warm, it doesn't remain stable for long periods.
All right.
And so you have to, once you warm it up, you got to give it and get it done with.
That's interesting. So, but flu shots for the most part aren't like that, right? I mean, you don't need to do that.
No, flu shots are not. They're stable at room temperature.
Huh. That's interesting.
Well, refrigerator temperature, but anyway,
Yeah.
We keep it in the refrigerators because it's more stable that way. But it's not. It's one of those things that you want to. You just have to do it to keep it stable. I mean, basically, it's the bottom line.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of condolences for your friend who just passed.
Thank you very much.
Yep. All right, so let's see what we've got here on the old text line. By the way, if you have a question for Dr. G, go ahead and text me at 207-441-6969, 207-441-6969, or you can pass it along on Facebook. Go to my page or American Women Who Bear Arms or Legacy 1160. I'll monitor those pages. Good morning, John and Dr. Garofalo. I'm starting to develop a little pain just above my right butt cheek. Scares me because I had back surgery. This seems a bit different than the sciatic nerve syndrome.
Well, again, that could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right above the right butt cheek. Huh?
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Any change in color of urine? I mean, that could be a kidney stone. That could be, could just be a muscle strain. Unlikely that it's a recurring disc problem, because usually that would radiate further down. Doesn't seem like a sciatic pain either. That thing is the kind of thing that it could be a kidney stone. It might be worth getting urine checked, on that kind of stuff. Even if you don't have any family history or personal history of kidney stones can happen to anybody anytime. They're one of those.
Those are
one of those really enjoyable nuisance things.
I've never had one of those. My son who does not. Yeah, I mean he just grins and bears it. But kidney stones was just I never seen him in the pain he was in when he had kidney stones.
Kidney stones can be severe.
Yeah.
Of those patients I had in the past who were able to talk from experience said it was worse than childbirth. So that was only about half of them, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That they said that the pain from the difference between kidney stone pain and childbirth pain is at least childbirth pain lets up a little bit now and then.
Right.
But kidney stones don't.
Oh yeah.
So they can be severe.
Mm.
Again, that comes back down to the problem of everybody's pain tolerance is different. So
yeah, and some people have high pain tolerance.
It's hard to say if someone says, "Well, I have a pain in such and such a place." Well, it could be a kidney stone. Well, yeah, but it's not incapacitating me.
Right.
It doesn't matter. That's you. Someone else might be on the ground writhing around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My son was out. He was out plowing snow in Windsor, and he was hit with this. He was literally physically ill. He had to get out of his truck, and he had to have somebody come take the plow truck and bring him to a place where we could get him to the hospital. This was a number of years ago, but I just remember the excruciating pain the kid was in, and I thought, I don't ever want to be in that. Although I've got to tell you, I had and this is I don't know, I shouldn't. This is a medical show, right? I mean, it's a medical. I had a fissure once. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Holy moly.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with you, not at you.
Yeah. Have you ever had something like that, or have you known people that have had that, or have you ever?
Oh God. Oh yeah.
They say. I mean, I can't imagine childbirth being worse than that. That might even be. I've never had a kidney stone, but it might even be comparable to that. But it was horrible. So anyway, we'll get off that subject real quick.
There we go. That's good. Yeah.
But no, it reminded me of all the painful things that we encounter in life, and my mother and another painful thing. And this is a good question. Somebody had this, and this is a question I had never asked you before, but I'm remembering it now. I don't know if the person who asked is listening, but I can pass the answer along if they are not. I guess you'd call it a bowel blockage.
Yeah.
Or a what do they call it? I guess a blockage, I guess. My mother actually had that, and she actually had to go have an emergency. We didn't think she was going to live through the surgery. She had issues, and she wound up having a colostomy. It was that bad. But
it can be.
How do you know when? And again, these are medical topics, and of course they cover all things. So I don't mean to be overly graphic or anything like that. But how do you know when it's potential blockage and I've got to get this checked out, or it's just I've got to take some Haley's milk of mag or whatever you take? I don't even know.
Well, the thing is if you're unable to move your bowel,
yep,
that's concerning.
Right.
That's the biggie. Okay. As far as whether or not something could be a potential bowel obstruction.
Right. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Obstruction.
That's okay. The problem with that is that there's no one thing, but the pain usually is pretty severe. You probably won't even be passing gas.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things you've got to be looking for, or be concerned about. If you're worried about an obstruction, those are the things that would tell you that you have an obstruction, or suggest that you do.
Yeah.
No. Bowel obstructions are weird critters too, because sometimes they're due to actual mechanical obstruction. The bowel is twisted.
Right.
An incision which is blocking the bowel, or
Whoops, hold on just a second. I've got to reset this phone here. I don't know why it does that. Okay, go ahead. So sometimes the bowel is twisted. Wow, that's
Yeah, that's what we call a volvulus, and that'll do it. But some bowel obstructions are due to what we call an ileus. Different drugs, different infections, different illnesses can cause your bowel to stop functioning properly.
okay.
And it just doesn't move things along. But even still, in all those cases, if you're unable to move your bowels, you've got abdominal pain, you might even become bloated, and you're not even passing gas, that's a reason to go get checked out.
Okay. And if things aren't moving, that's what would that be a motility problem?
Yeah, well, an ileus is a bowel motility problem.
Yeah. All right. See, are you impressed with that I knew that word?
I'm impressed. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway,
maybe astounded is a better description.
Astounded. Okay, good. I'd like to hear that. I'm going to save you saying that on tape here so I can play it repeatedly. So, no, this is all good stuff to know. And okay, here's a question that's sort of in the same lines, I think. Why is it after surgery they make you stay in, I don't know, in recovery or in the hospital? They don't release you until you are able to pass gas.
Because again, that's one of the things that's the ileus thing. In other words, where your bowel is not moving.
Okay.
And especially if you've had abdominal surgery.
Yep.
They want to make sure that something didn't get, didn't get tied off improperly or something.
All right, I see.
Or that, sometimes when you've done surgery, things will, that's one of those times when the bowels can twist just because of having been in the abdominal cavity,
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta make sure things are working okay.
You think about it. You think about the human body. I mean, all of the different systems and all of the veins and arteries and cells and the intestines and the esophagus and the windpipe. And is it just amazing how you can many people go pretty much their whole lives without a malfunction, without a real problem. And it just amazes me.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, we're always so, the only other thing I can give you as an analogy is the only thing is we're always so amazed, or disappointed, or, when there's a problem with a childbirth. But when you think about it, think of all the things that have to go right in order to get a healthy baby.
Right.
It really is a miracle.
Yeah. It really is.
And, and so I think, it is. It's amazing. And all the things that can go wrong, and all the things that can go wrong that you have absolutely no control over. That's the part that's the most frustrating,
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody just said here when they had their C-section, the doctor wouldn't let them leave until they, moved their bowels.
Right. Well, that's an example of you were in the abdominal cavity.
Right.
Did anything get messed up when we were in there doing surgery? Especially with C-section. The other thing you want to do is make sure the person's voiding okay, that they're peeing okay.
Right, because you're moving, when you're going in for a baby, I would imagine you're moving a lot of things around inside there.
You move a few things, but the problem is like the ureters and the bladder and all that are all tightly along the uterus.
Mm.
And it's easy to get those things messed up when you're having a baby.
Yep, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this is all interesting stuff. Now I'm looking to see, do we have any more? Anybody got a question here? I don't think I've got another. Oh, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. That was I'm looking at something from Mike's show. Oh, I do have some information about nitrogen. Negative 320 degrees. Holy cow.
Negative 320.
320 degrees. I assume that's Fahrenheit.
must be Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Yeah, and dry ice minus 110 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and I think probably this stuff has got to be kept at dry ice temp, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, that's still awful cold. What's
Yeah,
that? What's that?
cold.
What's absolute zero Kelvin? That's like 400 and something degrees.
No, absolute zero Fahrenheit is minus 454.
Yeah, okay, I knew it was in the 400s.
In Celsius, it's minus 273.
Well, there you go. There you go. So there is your absolute zero lesson and your metric system lesson for the day, or as they used to call it in high school when I was there, when we thought we were going to go to the metric system back in the day, they called it, my teacher, Mr. Talbot, called it the metric system. Yes, yeah, I swear to God, Dale Talbot. I don't even know he was a hippie, and I don't even know if he's still around anymore. He was a great guy, but he was almost like a stoner. You know, today we're going to learn about biology, and he was a biology teacher. We're going to learn how to measure things using the metric system in the beakers and the whatever they called the things. It was very funny. And I used to like biology because I got to use fire. I got to light that Bunsen burner, and that was my favorite part. And that was
probably more like the chemistry class.
Well, maybe it was. I guess it was chemistry. I guess it was. It was chemistry. What biology? I took biology too.
Biology is when you did the fetal pig dissection and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I've taken that. Yeah, we took apart a frog one time.
Yep, there you go.
That's and they actually I never did it. I never wanted to do it, but they had a freezer full of cats too. Do you remember kids dissecting? Yeah, they had a freezer full of cats.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was interesting. I just did the frog. That was enough for me. You know, I decided I didn't want to be a medical examiner after that. And but they did cats. I never saw any other animals besides frogs and cats, but that was plenty for high school, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
9:56 right now. Well, Dr. G, I'm gonna let you go. Alan, one of our listeners, said he probably made psychedelics. He probably did. It was probably more. He was having us cook up his fix on the Bunsen burgers. That's what it was. Oh, and Dottie says they had to inflate cow lungs. How about that? It's amazing some of the things they do. I don't know if they do that anymore. It might not be politically correct. They probably don't even dissect things in it. Maybe they do. I don't know. I don't know if they're actually doing dissection in biology classes anymore. Because there's a lot of kids who, it's a little traumatic high school age. Yeah.
It's one thing if you're choosing to go that way as a profession, but if you're not, I can understand why some people would want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And to make it a requirement was kind of tough. I bet you a lot of the stuff is done virtually now.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet it is. You could literally. I'm sure you could literally do an autopsy with artificial intelligence or whatever you would call that. It is. It's amazing what they are able to do, and that wouldn't surprise me a bit. But I always thought it was more. It was gross. I remember the smell of the formaldehyde, and the frogs, and that was enough for me. And I don't think it was an elective either. I think you had to do it if you took the class.
Yeah, if you took biology, you probably did. Yeah. You probably didn't get a choice. No.
No. So it wasn't my favorite class, but it was certainly it certainly makes for good fodder here on the radio, doesn't it?
I suppose. We probably have people growing up at home at the moment.
Yeah, probably. We apologize if anybody's having breakfast. We've covered it all from bowels to dissecting frogs. I think we probably ought to end it right here. Plus, I'm out of time. But
there you go.
And again, Alan says we dissected baby pigs.
Yeah, fetal pigs. Yeah.
Huh. Now pigs. Let me ask you about this. That's very interesting. She says that. Are pigs most like humans of any animal as far as the internal workings go?
Yeah, a lot of pig physiology is very similar to human. Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, that's why. But a lot of research now. I mean, that's part of the problem with trying to figure out what's right and wrong in terms of how we should do things. And a lot of research now is done in primates.
Okay. Yeah.
So. But yeah, pigs are pretty close.
I wouldn't want to dissect a monkey.
No, and it's
but that would be most like a human, right?
Well, it'd be similar, yeah.
Except for the prehensile tail. Probably. Well, I don't know. I know some humans who have prehensile tails, I think, or they should, But anyway, so I don't want to insult anybody, so we'll leave it right at that.
Okay, sounds good.
It's always a lot of fun talking with you, Dr. G.
It's been a pleasure again.
And we'll do it again next week. And anybody has any questions? Nothing's off the table here. We'll talk about anything, and we'll have some fun doing it. I mean, we'll have some fun. And again, very sorry about your buddy there. And that putting a face on somebody who has COVID-19, especially somebody who has passed from it, I understand. And being from the medical profession, I certainly get your assertion that we should do things safely and cautiously. And I appreciate your input. It's nice to hear all sides.
So it's a pleasure to be able to do this. It really is. So.
Well, you're a good man, and we'll talk again next week, sir.
Okay, be careful and be respectful out there.
Absolutely. Talk to you later, John.
All right, take care, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dr. John Garofalo, former PCP and ER doc right here in Central Maine, just recently retired. Just giving of his time here because he still loves to help people. Just a wonderful man. So and so sorry to hear about his friend who just passed from COVID-19. That is that's tragic. It's 10 o'clock. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, as you know, after the news. Come back, please. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff here from K-Tronics, your local TV expert, and I want to tell you about Dish TV. If technology, value, and customer satisfaction are important to you, then it's time to cut the cable cord once and for all. Upgrade your TV experience and start saving with Dish today. Drop by K-Tronics at 57 Main Street in Madison. Call 207-696-3200 or visit us on the web at ktronicsmain.com. We are K-Tronics, your locally owned, operated, and trusted satellite TV experts.
My insurance kept going up and up and up and up.
I was getting a lot of mail about Medicare.
I could never have navigated through the loopholes.
These Mainers found help at Senior Planning Center, which represents all major Medicare health plans.
Senior Planning Center was a lifesaver.
Senior Planning Center did it all.
Gave me all my options and signed me up with what I needed within an hour.
Open enrollment runs October 15th through December 7th. Call 223-6565. Help when it matters most. SeniorPlanningCenter.com.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show.
Take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be your fault.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Hi, my name is Tony Esposito from Rockland Ford. This year has been crazy, and this month, so are our deals. Ford has finally started making cars again, so our lot is full and the incentives are high. This month only, you can buy a brand new redesigned Ford Escape for as low as $22,415 or $359 a month with no money down. I repeat, You can buy a brand new Ford Escape at Rockland Ford for as low as $359 a month with no money down. And if a truck is what you need, we got you covered. Rockland Ford just made a special purchase of 35 low-mileage program F-150s, as low as $23,995 or only $359 a month with no money down. This month only, buy a brand new Escape or program F-150 for $359 a month with no money down. Call us while supplies last at Rockland Ford, home of the Rock Bottom Deal, Route 1 in Thomaston.
Payments are for qualified credit for 84 months at 4.5% APR.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Tom Rivers. As President Trump prepares to travel to Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath for Veterans Day, he's also still refusing to admit that he lost the election. ABC Chief Congressional Correspondent Mary Bruce with more on how those in his administration are reacting.
They know the math here. They know that there is no pathway to win through litigation. And so it's hard to say if they really have a clear strategy here, except to try and sow doubt in the legitimacy of a Biden presidency. The question then becomes really, how far is the president willing to go to undermine our electoral system? And does it do lasting damage beyond just a Biden presidency?
Eta has regained hurricane strength as Florida braces for a second hit from the storm. Its maximum sustained winds are about 75 miles an hour off the southwest coast. A number of governors are issuing new restrictions and curfews as coronavirus cases surge across the country. This is ABC News. A new argument from the CDC to wear masks.
The agency saying wearing one doubles as personal protection and source control, adding that the benefit increases when a community wears masks. The CDC says wearing a mask combined with social distancing, hand washing, and proper ventilation can help prevent a future lockdown. As for the economy, an analysis of data found that increasing universal mask use by just 15% could avoid $1 trillion in losses. Lionel Moyes, ABC News.
All the pro-democracy lawmakers in Hong Kong's legislature now say they'll resign. It's a protest after Hong Kong's leader tossed 4 of them for what are being called unpatriotic actions. For the first time since the space shuttle, NASA has signed off on a new system to carry humans into space. The space agency giving its certification to the Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon Crew capsule from SpaceX. I'm Tom Rivers, ABC News.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
We have a special message from Dell. They're offering you massive discounts on the best XPS and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors for Black Friday. You're getting early access to a curated selection of premium tech like Samsung TVs. Plus, there's free shipping on everything. Yes, everything. Whether it's for work, school, or fun, Dell has you covered. Call 800-BY-DELL or go to Dell.com/Black Friday for up to $400 off. That's 800-BY-DELL.
I keep on dancing for Daddy's gonna turn the trick right now. Shake it, baby. Come on and show me how you work. Now you're in motion. Daddy's gonna do the locomotion, yeah. Don't hurry, keep away. Make it every perfect day. Keep on dancing out of practice. Keep on dancing out of practice. Keep on dancing out of practice.
And now, live from the Legacy 1160 WSKW studios in Maine's capital, here's the man that commands attention, not because he's important or smart, but because he believes in the Second Amendment and packs 24/7. Here's the always well-armed John James.
Hi. Welcome back. It's 10:08 right now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Doesn't it it drive you crazy? The mainstream media doesn't even acknowledge the potential for litigation in these races that are so close. They don't even acknowledge it. In fact, while I was surfing on my phone, I got an update. Well, of course, you heard ABC News. ABC News. I don't know who that guy is. He's got a very annoying voice to me. AOL. I can't find it now. But basically, it said that Donald Trump is wrong in denying the presidency and concede. Why would he concede? Why? Why is it everybody? Well, I know why. You know why. They insist he concede. As soon as he concedes, it's done. But they insist there's no pathway to victory. Well, maybe there's not. But maybe there is. We've got to see it play out. Al Gore, what was it, in December, before Al Gore conceded? Oh, Al Gore, they should take a page out of Al Gore. That's MSNBC. Should take a page out of Al Gore's book. He was very gracious in conceding the race to George W. Bush. No, he was not. Good grief. How quickly they forget. 10:10 now on Legacy 1160. WSKW. I'm your friendly host, John James. And see what we'll start with here. Oh, let's start with a good story about guns. Now, I heard this morning on, I think it was Jeff Peterson on WGME, our news partner, was saying that more people in Maine, more people feel more comfortable having a gun now, more than ever in the state of Maine. And if you question that, all you've got to do is go look at the ammo shelves at any of your gun stores. That ammo is not to collect. If you don't have a gun, that ammo is to store in case you need it. That's how uncomfortable people are in today's world. And the NICS check, the National Instant Check System, background check system, says that more guns have been sold since records have been kept so far this year. And we've still got over a month and a half before the end of the year, before we'll have the final numbers. Now, here is a case in point. This in California, where personal gun ownership, as backed by the Supreme Court, is the law of the land. So California can do all they want to limit guns, but people still have them. According to police in Fresno, California, a burglar broke into a home at around 5:30 in the morning a couple of weeks ago. The burglar ran out of the house after being discovered. Then last week, a burglary occurred at the same home at around 2:30 in the morning, according to KMPH television. Homeowner was alerted by a doorbell video cam that somebody was trying to break a window on the front door. Homeowner came out armed with a handgun. The suspect went around to the side and jumped a fence to get into the backyard. Homeowner tried to run the suspect off while another person called for help. Another reason why you really don't want to defund the police, and if you are, you should have a gun. The homeowner tried to run the suspect off and fired several shots, hitting the suspect multiple times. That ended the potential assault then and there. The wounded 17-year-old ran from the home and was located by deputies down the street. An ambulance met the deputies, took the teen to the hospital. He was treated and released before being booked into juvenile hall. He faces a felony charge of attempted home burglary. No charges have been filed. Guns save lives. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, I'm not trying to convince those who believe in the right to bear arms. I'm just trying to hammer home the point that any attempt to disarm the public is wrong. Because according to the Declaration of Independence, we have the right, the God-given right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That right to life and liberty gives us the ability to protect ourselves and our loved ones, and the right to self-protection. And that is backed up by the Constitution of the United States, Second Amendment, and others. And any attempt to take it away will be met with, as the left likes to say, resistance. Much resistance. So I like to bring these things to light whenever I see them. 10:15 now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Well, once again, Whoopi Goldberg and the girls are here to tell you how evil Donald Trump is. You remember yesterday, Whoopi Goldberg told conservatives to suck it up, grow a pair. You should be ashamed of yourselves for denying Joe Biden his place in history as the 46th president. Now, in yesterday's show, Whoopi begins by regaling an AOC tweet, who she loves. She loves socialism. They all love socialism. The girls on The View love socialism. So she started talking about this AOC tweet before Sonny Hostin picks up the ball and tries to go in for the score, but she is blocked by a fierce opponent whose name is The Truth. I love that. I love The Truth. Here are the girls on The View.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't want people to forget the people who continue to enable you-know-who. In a tweet asking, is anyone archiving
you-know-who? She won't say Trump's name, by the way.
When they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future. Do you foresee a decent probability of many deleted writings and tweets and photos in the future? Is she trying to make sure they are held accountable, or is she sort of advocating cancel culture?
You know, I think that Trump tear-gassed peaceful protesters for a photo op. I think that Trump ripped children from their parents. I think that Trump called NFL players sons of bitches. I think that for exercising their First Amendment rights. And I think those people in his administration that not only drafted some of those policies, but were complicit in those policies shouldn't be forgotten. People like Kirstjen Nielsen, people like Stephen Miller, people like Kellyanne Conway, people like Vice President Pence, who was woefully inadequate at his role of being the head of the coronavirus task force, and people like Ben Carson and Betsy DeVos. I don't think that those people should be able to profit from their experience within the Trump administration. And I don't think that they should be forgotten. And I don't think that we should look the other way. I think we need to remember because if you don't remember things, then past becomes prologue. And I do think that people need to be held accountable for their actions. And I don't think it is reminiscent of McCarthyism.
Ooh. Whoa, Sonny Hostin. Whoa. On the warpath. Sonny thinks Trump ripped children from their law-breaking parents or coyotes. Look up that word, Sonny. It's not the animal. She complains he called NFL players sons of bitches for exercising their First Amendment rights. This is why The View is so stupid. So, Sonny, the administration separated children and the parents were lawbreakers and kept the children here because they couldn't be certain of their safety, especially if the adults weren't their real parents and were coyotes. And so far as calling the NFL players a name for exercising their First Amendment rights, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, you sound stupid. He didn't tell them not to exercise their First Amendment right. That would have been wrong. Donald Trump simply used his First Amendment right to state his opinion. Why do you have a problem? Oh, sorry, I forgot. People on the right don't have the same freedom of speech as those on the left do they? That's right. I keep forgetting that. I keep forgetting. Hold on. Just want to readjust the camera a little bit there. Okay. 621-9759-207-441-6969 text line. Tough guy Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York, was on Sirius XM Monday saying if he wasn't governor, he would deck Donald Trump. Tough guy. He's tough, isn't he? That Andrew Cuomo. Whew. You know, it wasn't the first time the tough guy governor has threatened the president with physical violence. You might remember in September, he said Trump would need an army if he visits New York. Here are his comments on Monday with Howard Stern.
I needed him to help New York. That was my job. If I wasn't governor of New York, I would have decked him. Period. I mean, he was attacking me. He was attacking my family. He was anti-Italian. He was every nasty thing. You know, if I take away that word governor for 24 hours, I would have had a field day with him.
Wow. Now, you talk about somebody giving a bad name to Italian Americans. There he is right there, Andrew Cuomo. He'd deck him. He would deck him. He was supposed to help New York. Well, all due respect, Governor, and you don't deserve much, so were you. You were supposed to help New York. You were supposed to keep the elderly people safe. The elderly people in nursing homes safe from COVID-19. You failed miserably. Don't blame Donald Trump. Stop it. You're an idiot. You're a mook. These people are so self-righteous, they can't do anything wrong. It's hard. It's hard to imagine a country where people like that can rule a city, a state, and they think they're above criticism for anything. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump doesn't have his share of that. But what have you done, Governor Cuomo, for the state of New York? I can show you a slew of things Donald Trump did for America and is still doing for America, including trying to save this election. What have you done for New York besides kill thousands of people in nursing homes? And Donald Trump did help New York, by the way. Donald Trump provided more respirators than you will need in 2 lifetimes. Donald Trump got a Red Cross, a Navy ship, a Navy Red Cross ship I don't know if I'm stating that right, brought it in to the harbor there that you never used, helped you set up remote satellite hospitals in Central Park, which were barely used. And it got you all the respirators and PPE. And you killed thousands in nursing homes. And you sit there saying you deck him. He was supposed to help you, and he didn't. It's amazing how blind and ignorant these people are. You know why that is? It's because they know what they're saying is untrue, but they know they are preaching to people who are so low intel and so willing to accept anything the left says that they're safe. Their constituents are going to say, yeah, you go, Governor Cuomo. Trump didn't help anybody. No, people who look at the truth know he did. And people who look at the truth, people who are objective enough to see that Andrew Cuomo and his brother Fredo are losers, know the truth and readily admit the truth. And by the way, New York is filled with ignorant people. You have to look no further than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for one, and Bill de Blasio for another. Check this out. Check this out. Police must be happy about this. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio and his wife, First Lady Chirlane McCray, have announced a new pilot program for parts of the Big Apple, according to the Blaze, that will see mental health teams deployed instead of police in response to some emergency calls. There was a news release sent out by de Blasio's office yesterday. It explained that mental health teams of emergency medical service health professionals and mental health crisis workers will be dispatched through 911 to respond to mental health emergencies in 2 high-need communities. Wow. What's that all about? Mayor de Blasio, could that possibly be about
feelings?
Oh, I think it is.
Nothing more than feeling.
Oh, that feels good, doesn't it? I'm going to call the cops on these people. They're having a crisis. They need some psychological help. They don't need evil men and women with guns. They're killers. So here's the deal. Okay, let's look at it now instead of from a feelings point of view, like Mayor de Blasio and his First Lady Chirlane McCray want. Let's look at it from a logical, objective, common sense. That eludes Bill de Blasio. So someone's having a psychological breakdown. 911 workers get the call, and they have to ascertain whether or not the person is armed, dangerous, suicidal, homicidal, paranoid, depressed, or all of the above. And then go ahead and send an unarmed social worker to the scene instead of police. What could possibly go wrong with that plan? Bill? What could possibly go wrong with defunding the police? I don't know. Look at your city. Look at the murder rate. You have killed people with your defunding, eliminating a segment of the NYPD. How idiotic are these people? And how blind are the constituents who elect and re-elect them every time an election comes around? The definition of insanity. The insane are running the asylum. I don't mean to be flippant about that. I know mental health issues. I've had them. They are nothing to be laughed off. But they are also something to take more seriously, especially during a crisis where police may be needed. Not the time to be sending unarmed psychologists to the scene. Am I wrong about that? It's 1028 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Back with more. We are going to get into the whole continuation of investigations into fraud. I don't care what mainstream media says. Maybe it is over. Maybe Joe Biden will be our next president. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the law and the rights of the President of the United States and the voters of President Donald Trump are concerned, this is not over. Trust me. Back with more.
WSKW.
ABC News, I'm Tom Rivers. As President Trump prepares to travel to Arlington National Cemetery.
What a fantastic time to shop for fall items at Town Line Antiques, where you'll find 2 floors, 50 dealers, and thousands of items from throughout history. Town Line Antiques has vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and more. If you haven't been recently, there are new booths and lots of new items, including a full booth of Christmas goodies for anyone who wants to spread some early cheer. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
I'm a hiker, and I am Sam.
The Sportsman's Alliance of Maine is a champion of our rights to fully enjoy Maine as we like. Support the preservation of our proud outdoor heritage by becoming a member at sportsmansallianceofmaine.org today.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Areas of fog this morning with some sun to start the day. Expect increasing clouds with a chance for showers this evening and tonight. One last warm day today, highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Clouds to developing sun tomorrow, highs in the 50s. Back to the 40s Friday and the weekend. Chance for showers Friday, mostly sunny Saturday.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Yeah, hello. Sounded like Mr. Haney there, didn't I? Remember Mr. Haney? Oh, that's some good stuff. Oh, I've got to tell you about a movie I watched yesterday on Netflix. I think I was pleasantly surprised. It's you probably if you scroll through movies for a half an hour like I do, because it drives my wife crazy. So I'm going through and you land on something and it starts to show you a preview. So I land on this movie called Knock Knock. And the preview comes up and it shows this guy. And I read a little bit of the synopsis, and it shows this guy, and I'm sorry, he's probably a famous actor. I don't care about actors and actresses' names. I just care if they can act. But this guy is a good-looking guy, and so his wife, and it's the perfect setup. His wife and children go away to the lake. I think they're planning to move, and that night, the night of the day that the family leaves and he stays home because he has to work, He's an architect. There's a knock at the door, and he opens the door. He's a little apprehensive at first, then he opens the door, and there are these two hot young women soaking wet standing at his door. And I know guys are they're writing down the name of this. It's Knock Knock. And I swear, the first time I passed over it several times, but yesterday I had a little time to kill, so I passed over, and I thought, well, you know, it's a stupid, campy comedy. I didn't feel like a comedy. I very seldom feel like comedies. I like drama. So I look and I see the synopsis, and it's not a comedy. It says like horror. Thought, well, maybe this will be okay. So I land on it, and I start to watch it, and I'm not gonna. I'll give you no spoilers here, but these two girls, and they're at the door. They're soaking wet. One left her cell phone at home. The other one's cell phone got wet and it was damaged. So naturally, he offers them in to use the phone, and he winds up calling him an Uber, which won't be there for 45 minutes. And he's an ex, you know what, the thing that was endearing to me, sort of, he's a former DJ. So he's got all this DJ equipment in the house. And, the music. And he walks in and they're dancing. They got the music on. He goes to get him some tea. They're dancing. And then, well, you can imagine what, and it does get, it's one of those movies that guys will like, because it has some very, very graphic, scenes. I will say that. But then it turns. And if you're a guy, it reminds me, and I can't think of the movie. It came out years ago. Remember with the dead rabbit? It sort of reminds me of that. It's one of those very uncomfortable movies for guys. And I haven't finished it yet. I've still got about 15 minutes left, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The sexy scenes aside, it's pretty good. You've got a good-looking guy, two hot women, a stormy, rainy night, an empty house, and you write the story. You probably could, but it gets very, very intense. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So you want to watch it now, don't you? And watch it when the kids aren't around. I'll tell you that. And it's not a funny movie. It's funny, just as I'm talking about this, I am going through my tabs here, and there's a website open with these two very good-looking young women called Chicks on the Right. You may be familiar with them. It's chicksontheright.com. And there's a lot of news, a lot of right-wing news. And I'm going to go through some of the headlines on here right now. North Carolina called for Donald Trump and Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis is the senator who picked up a seat in the House of Representatives. He's a Republican from North Carolina. And of course, Trump, it was called yesterday for Trump, North Carolina was. And I just saw this other headline: former Planned Parenthood president deletes excited tweet about babies named Kamala. Ooh, Apparently that's the new name. That's the new hot name now, Kamala. Say it right, Kamala Harris. No, just Kamala. The former Planned Parenthood president deletes because if you're the former Planned Parenthood president, you don't want to say anything positive about babies. Remember, because if you're a Planned Parenthood president, killing babies is your bread and butter. So how obvious is that? I'm glad they caught that. I'm glad the chicks on the right caught that. Let's see where that's from. It is from a guy named Natalie, a woman named Natalie Argyle. And this just came out this morning. Sometimes, and I'll read a little bit of it, sometimes the left can be a little oblivious. A prime example is former Planned Parenthood president Cecile Richards, who said in a tweet that has since been deleted, excited for all the babies this year who will be named Kamala. And the article goes on, this opinion piece, which is incredibly ironic considering she was the president of an organization that is overwhelmingly responsible for the abortion of millions of babies. And the irony was not lost on the public, who immediately responded. All right, let's read some of the responses to this past president of Planned Parenthood and her tweet. A guy named Chip Roy says, the babies, especially black babies who survived to birth, will be grateful for the opportunity. Mary Margaret Olahan, from the former president of Planned Parenthood, evil or incredibly, hopelessly tone deaf. A medical doctor, Nan Hayworth, says, ghoulishly tasteless from Ms. Richards in light of the particular field in which her leadership was most conspicuous. Another one, for all the babies who would have been named Kamala, but never saw the light of day because they were aborted by Planned Parenthood. Oh, that's great. That's epic. What a Did she not see? These people, they're literally, they're tone deaf. So she didn't take it down until she saw the pushback she was getting. The editorial writer goes on, I guess Richards realized that it wasn't a good look for her to be excited about baby names, considering the millions of abortions performed by the organization of which she was the president for 12 years, and whose current president assured the public that expanding access to abortion is part of their core mission. And a prospective Joe Biden administration will surely help and literally put the nail in the coffins of millions more babies in the United States and around the world, sadly. ChicksOnTheRight.com for that story and others. Great website. I had it up the other day and I was going to look at it and I didn't, but I'm glad I just happened on it this morning talking about my campy movie that I watched yesterday. By the way, it's, again, for those who want to watch it, it's called Knock Knock. And tell me what you think. If you do watch it, tell me what you think. All right. John, today I recognize my daughter, Air Force brother, Army, and, oh, okay, Air Force, my daughter, Air Force brother, okay, I'm not following this exactly. Recognize my daughter, Air Force brother, Army, and grandfather, Army neighbor, Marine, for their patriotic service. Absolutely. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service to all. Also, okay. Also, baby names. Correct name is Camel Toe, not Kamala. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Hey, I'm just reading the text. I'm the messenger here, okay? 10:43 now on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Ted Cruz. Well, before we get to Ted Cruz, Andrew McCabe. Ted Cruz literally exploded on Andrew McCabe yesterday. It was epic. Ted Cruz is. Can I say? I don't know what you think of Ted Cruz, senator from Texas. Ted Cruz is a freaking amazing. Ted Cruz would have made a great president. There's another guy who will take no prisoners. And I wouldn't be surprised if he runs again in 2024. So last night on, we'll get to that. We'll get to Ted Cruz. But last night on Tucker Carlson, I thought this was interesting. He took a veiled swipe at Neil Cavuto, fellow Fox host. Now, you might remember this from the other day when Kayleigh McEnany was talking about the election fraud, and Neil Cavuto went to her presser during his show, and then this happened.
We want maximum sunlight. We want maximum transparency. We want every legal vote to be counted, and we want every illegal vote to be...
I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this. I want to make sure that maybe they do have something to back that up.
Wow, Fox News, what is going on all of a sudden? This is the proverbial jumping the shark period, I think, for Fox. This is just between Cavuto and Sandra Smith and Calling Arizona 2 hours after the polls closed last Tuesday. It just, wow. So anyway, Neil Cavuto did that. He stopped. He pulled an MSNBC or CNN. They do this daily on President Trump. Tucker made it a point to say, as I did yesterday, that's really not good journalism practice. This is last night. This is just a short piece from Tucker Carlson.
In a democracy, you cannot ignore honest questions from citizens. You're not allowed. You can't dismiss them out of hand as crazy or immoral for asking. You can't just cut away from coverage you don't like.
Ooh, ouch. You know, there still are some voices of reason there at Fox News. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity. Right now, they're unafraid, but do you think the screws are going to be tightened on those guys? I don't know. If they are, I suspect there's going to be some exoduses to Newsmax. That's my guess. Just a guess. But they're the ones that they're the up-and-comers. We'll see what happens there in the next few weeks or month or leading up to the inauguration. So Ted Cruz had quite a moment yesterday. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was on the hot seat at the Senate hearings on the FBI Russia investigation. Cruz asked McCabe whether or not Joe Biden is violating the Logan Act. If you don't know what the Logan Act is, stand by. I'm going to school you a little bit. I had to look it up to be sure. But he asked Joe Biden whether or not Joe Biden is violating the Logan Act if he is now talking with foreign governments about the agenda they'll pursue in January. He reminded Andrew McCabe that he himself used it when going after General Flynn during Crossfire Hurricane. This exchange is epic. Cruz is brilliant. Listen.
Ben Rhodes, the former deputy national security advisor to President Obama, said that foreign leaders are already having conversations with Joe Biden, quote, talking about the agenda they're going to pursue January 20th. Mr. McCabe, based on that testimony, do you believe Joe Biden is violating the Logan Act?
I'm not aware of Ben Rhodes' statements or
take it on faith. He said what I read. Assuming that quote is accurate, and it's a verbatim quote, is that a violation of the Logan Act under any plausible theory?
I am not prepared to take your statement on faith. And I am also not prepared to conduct legal analysis.
All right, you're a lawyer. Have you ever answered a hypothetical in court? If it is correct that I am accurately quoting it, something the Department of Justice frequently did wrong in this investigation, if that is what Ben Rhodes said, if Joe Biden is talking with foreign leaders right now, does it violate the Logan Act? Yes or no?
I'm not going to opine on a hypothetical question about what the Biden campaign.
He is talking with foreign leaders, and it doesn't violate the Logan Act because the Logan Act is unconstitutional, which is why it's never been used to prosecute anyone. You authorized using it to go after General Flynn as part of a political persecution. I can give you the answer. Hell no, Joe Biden is not violating the Logan Act. The reason you won't say it is because that was your flimsy political basis to go after a decorated war hero because you disagreed politically with President Trump.
Boom! Oh, man! This guy is good. So what is the Logan Act? How long has it been around? A long time. Logan Act is a federal law that criminalizes negotiation by unauthorized American citizens with foreign governments having a dispute with the United States. The intent behind the act is to prevent unauthorized negotiations from undermining the government's position. The Logan Act has been around since 1799 and is considered, as Ted Cruz said, unconstitutional and has never been successfully used against any citizen. Now, in the absence of a crime, however, Peter Strzok overruled career officials to keep the case open. He raised the Logan Act as a possible way to charge Flynn. Acting Attorney General Sally Yates also raised the Logan Act for the case. And we know that McCabe pushed the Logan Act with the absence of other crimes to get Flynn. Also involved, of course, was Peter Strzok's lover, fellow agent Lisa Page, who celebrated keeping the case open. Both have been paid contributors on MSNBC since their disgraced careers with the FBI ended. James Comey had also raised the Logan Act with President Obama in discussing surveillance of Flynn. In fact, in one meeting, Justice Department officials were surprised that Obama already knew of the surveillance, even though Yates was not aware of the facts. One document reveals that Yates had no idea the president was talking about what he was talking about, but figured it out based on the conversation. Speculation. General Flynn was perfectly within his rights as the incoming national security advisor to talk with Russia over concerns about recent sanctions put in place by the outgoing administration. He was well within his rights. And that was an incoming administration. Joe Biden is arguably not even an incoming administration as of right now, legally, technically. And he's okay. He didn't violate the Logan Act, so says Ted Cruz. Yesterday, McCabe also took responsibility for signing the warrant that put surveillance on Carter Page. Remember that whole fiasco with the dossier? He says he wouldn't have done it if he knew then what he knows now. Mike Emanuel is reporting for Fox News. Lindsey Graham asks Andrew McCabe, the question is, who's responsible?
I am certainly responsible as a person in a leadership position.
Former FBI director, Senate panel, digging into the origin of the Russia probe, including surveillance of a then Trump campaign aide.
If you knew then what you know now, would you have signed the warrant application in June of 2017 against Carter Page?
No, sir.
The Justice Department's internal watchdog found the FBI's request for surveillance of Carter Page contained numerous factual errors. But McCabe insists the FBI did not open a case because it liked one candidate in the 2016 campaign and disliked the other.
We opened a case because it was our obligation and our duty to do so. We did our job.
That's a matter of opinion. That's not necessarily true. Probably isn't. Because we know they did like one candidate more than the other. But that aside, it was wrong. Andrew McCabe admitted it was wrong. 10:54 on Legacy 1160. Let's take a quick call here if we've still on the line. Hi, you're on with John. Who am I talking with?
Hello?
Hi.
How are you?
Hey, Megan?
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
A little sore, but okay.
So you're sore? Oh, yeah, you had a procedure yesterday. So everything's okay?
I don't know the results of it yet.
Oh, boy. Well, listen, best of luck. Prayers. Best wishes for you.
And I do have a day set for my surgery, which is December 9th.
Well, we wish you well for sure. Okay.
But did you see Hannity's episode last night?
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you see Hannity's episode last night?
Which episode? I'm sorry, I'm listening to your child. I'm easily distracted.
Hannity.
Hannity?
Yes.
Some of it. I didn't see all of it. I saw some of it. What part are you referring to?
How Kayleigh McEnany was on air. She went more in depth about the sworn affidavits.
Oh, yes. I did see some of that. Yeah, she was on with she was on with somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's Trump's legal team.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
People, peeking, at ballots and the secret envelope before marking them problematic and stuff like that. I was like, are you kidding me? We're coaching people to vote for Biden at the polls.
Oh, yeah. This is widely being widely talked about. Absolutely. That's what we're hearing. And even more than that, on Laura Ingraham last night, there's a big case in Nevada more properly, where there was a Biden-Harris van with a bunch of people filling out ballots.
Oh yeah, behind the van.
The van, yeah. We've got the audio of the woman who and her name. Well, no, not her name. She was her voice was altered, so she wouldn't be recognized. Don't have her name, but she was a poll worker.
I can't believe some of these people. I mean, they come out and tell the truth, and their jobs and everything could be at jeopardy.
Oh, of course, yeah. People are excoriated. The left will not let anybody get away with hurting their preferred candidate. Will not. In fact, right now, the left is trying, including AOC, encouraging people not to give jobs to people who work for the Trump administration. And, getting involved in people's personal lives. They will stop at nothing to ruin people, to cancel them, to annihilate their very lives because they don't like their political leaning. AOC can go to hell, as far as I'm concerned.
It's beyond, just the people who worked on the, Trump administration and in his cabinet. I mean, they're talking about straight up
supporters.
After supporters.
Supporters, yes, they are. You're right.
My husband had a talk last night, and he said, I don't think we have a choice anymore. We might have to leave as soon as we get, our tax refund before the school year is over for our daughter, and move to Texas. Because I mean, I live in a state where Nadler is a representative in our state. So is AOC. Schumer, we've got Cuomo, we've got de Blasio.
Yeah, boy, these people are dangerous. We were talking about Cuomo this morning, again, threatening the president with violence, said he'd deck him if he wasn't the governor. And de Blasio is now going to send social workers out to mental health calls instead of police, unarmed social workers. I mean, this is nuts. You've got.
This is what I'm talking about. I mean, like the vile people from the left. I mean, when I said gloves off now, everybody's telling us to get over it, accept it. And it's like you didn't accept it for 4 years that Hillary Clinton lost.
Right.
All right. And you smeared every chance you got our president in a legitimate, election and a legitimate presidency, and you've come after us.
Yeah.
The gloves are off. I'm sorry to say. I know it doesn't sound very Christian. I'm willing to openly listen to someone who's willing to be openly, to listen to us. But if it's somebody from the extreme left, who thinks we should be tried for treason and hung and, our future's ruined and being blacklisted from being able to get jobs,
Yeah, well, they're
thinking about it on the news. I don't have any sympathy or openness to them. Gloves are off.
Right, yeah, they're full of hot air and rage, and they can't get over themselves. So we're gonna be relentless. We are done. We have been emboldened by our president to take up arms, and I don't mean that necessarily in the literal sense, although you never know what's coming, but we need to fight our battles. We cannot let them walk on us with their hatred, with their rage, with their violence, with their evil words, with their bringing us down. You talk about pushing people down when they're, stepping on people when they're down. I mean, the left specializes in this, and we aren't going to take, well, most of us, I mean, there are people that will, but I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm done.
No, well, have you watched, do you ever watch Liberty Hangout on YouTube? She's really good. Very pro-Trump. She now is asking for donations. She's a page on the web, and she does like brief, interviews.
What's her name?
She is part of a group called Liberty Hangout.
Oh yeah, Kate. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Kate went out and she asked a bunch of Trump supporters what they thought about the election. One word, down in Florida, and asked, "Are you going to riot? Are you going to burn buildings down?" And they're like, "No,
of course not.
Do it the right way,
It's because
the truth, protest, what have you. But
yeah, we're not idiots.
Anyhow, you don't see any rioting. They claimed all these buildings were being boarded up because of Trump supporters.
No, they weren't. It wasn't. It was
because of left.
It was because of Biden supporters. That's why they were boarding. That's why they were boarding the buildings up. And
I still have. I have faith that he has a good chance. The more and more of this evidence is pouring in, that Trump can win. And the moment that is announced that Biden is not president and Trump actually won, there's going to be the rioting.
Yeah, they better leave the boards up. That's all I can say. Listen, I've got to run. We're running real late, but I appreciate your call as always, Megan.
Oh, I found out recently, one more thing. Trump is now on Parler.
Oh, he is on Parler. Good. Parler.
Yes.
Parler for those who want to make the switch. They allow free speech, unlike Facebook.
He's also on a place called gab.com. It has a very similar layout as Facebook.
Yes. Yep. No, that's very good. That's one of the owners of that platform, by the way, is Dan Bongino. So it's in good hands.
A co-owner of Parler.
Yeah. Listen, get the hell out of New York, Megan, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm John James.
WSKW AM 1160.
When you make the right decision, it feels good, like picking the perfect accent rug or choosing a good night's sleep over an all-night crime show binge. It feels really good to make the right insurance decision, too. That's why I'm here to help. I'm State Farm Agent January Peavy, here to help you select the right protection. I make sure that you understand your coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. With me, State Farm Agent January Peavy, it's easy to make the right choice. Just give me a call, 230-8365. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Electrical repair should never be done without the knowledge of how to do it safely. Better yet, skip that stress and let Kennebec Electric and Lighting take care of it for you. Kennebec Electric has offered professional electric and lighting service and expert installation in homes and businesses for over 37 years, and they stand behind that experience with a guarantee on all their work. Kennebec Electric and Lighting. Contact them for all your electric and lighting servicing, including installations and repairs at 861-7028 or online at KennebecElectric.com.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff here from K-Tronics, your local TV expert, and I want to tell you about Dish TV. If technology, value, and customer satisfaction are important to you, then it's time to cut the cable cord once and for all. Upgrade your TV experience and start saving with Dish today. Drop by K-Tronics at 57 Main Street in Madison. Call 207-696-3200 or visit us on the web at ktronicsmain.com. We are K-Tronics, your locally owned, operated, and trusted satellite TV experts.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Going from bad to worse in several cities and states across the country in regard to the coronavirus. ABC's Jim Ryan with more about a 152% increase in cases in El Paso, Texas.
El Paso County has ordered all non-essential businesses to shut down for 2 weeks to prevent a further spread of coronavirus. In response, a group of restaurant owners has filed suit, and Texas pro-business governor and attorney general have sided with the restaurants. Meanwhile, the El Paso City Council has passed an ordinance. Coughing or sneezing on another person could bring an assault charge.
On Tuesday, the U.S. reported more than 131,000 new cases, the highest one-day total so far. So far, still no concession from President Trump, who lost the presidential election last week. President-elect Joe Biden says he's not concerned, even though the Trump campaign won't allow the transition team to access funds, office space, and intelligence briefings that are handed over from one administration to the next one. This is ABC News. Eta is a hurricane. More than a week after hitting Central America as a Category 4 storm and then weakening, it has re-strengthened and is a Category 1 hurricane threatening the west coast of Florida. An American who says he was convicted on bogus spying charges in Russia has now spoken to ABC News.
Paul Whelan is adapting to life in a Russian prison camp.
There's probably 50 to 60 of us in the building, so we kind of live on top of each other. It's quite crowded.
ABC was speaking to Whelan in his first extensive interview since the former Marine was arrested as a spy 2 years ago. U.S. officials and his family have said Russia's security services framed Whelan, hoping to trade him for Russians in the U.S.
So instead of getting a legitimate target, they just grabbed a tourist.
U.S. officials have called for Russia to release Whelan, but so far there are no negotiations to free him. Patrick Reevell, ABC News, Moscow.
A new species of monkey has been discovered in Myanmar, and conservationists warn it's in danger of going extinct. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News.
eBay has gifts that say a lot, but don't cost a lot. So save big on a DeWalt drill set for dad that says, let's get to work. Tell your all-star niece it's time for takeoff with Air Jordans at not-so-sky-high prices. And get a certified refurbished Bose soundbar for your husband that says, we're going to need a bigger home theater. Say a lot, save a lot on gifts from eBay for those who mean a lot.
ABC Tonight. This is the live music event you've been waiting for all year long.
It's country music's
biggest night. The CMA Awards with live performances by Miranda Lambert, Luke Combs, Maren Morris, Eric Church, plus an epic collaboration. Thomas Rhett featuring Reba McEntire, Hillary Scott, and Chris Tomlin. and so many more. Reba McEntire and Darius Rucker host the CMA Awards live
tonight at 8/7 Central on ABC.
He's not the best looking, best dressed, or most charming person you'll ever meet, but he is the friendliest man in America. The one and only John James.
Hi.
Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Sorry about that. Well, happy Veterans Day. My dad was a proud United States Marine. The Marine's birthday was yesterday, Semper Fi. Today is Veterans Day. My dad's birthday was on the 7th. His picture is my profile picture today in his Marine's jacket that he was proud of, that we got him. My wife bought it for him. She's the most thoughtful woman in the world that I've ever met. My wife. And she never gets stuff for herself. Unless I make her. Yeah, I make her. I do. I make her get stuff for herself. She got a camper. She got a nice camper a couple of years back. She had a pop-up. We had a pop-up, and it was secondhand when we got it. It was getting dilapidated, and I said, no, I don't need a new camper, Get a camper. So she was going to get another pop-up camper, and my son who loves to spend our money said, "No, you don't want a pop-up. You want a trailer. You want a trailer with a slide out." He talked her right into it. He did, and this summer he talked us into we got composite decking. Because the paint was always peeling on the pressure-treated decking we had. And every year, so much work to maintain. My wife maintained it. Marianne maintained it all the time. And finally, she decided we really want composite decking. So we got composite decking. And we talked about the railings. But the railings, just the composite railings, were more expensive than the decking. In comes my son. Oh, you want to do this all? You want the composite railings. You want to get it all at once. It'll be easier. So my son in the last couple of years has spent approximately $30,000 of our money. But it benefited us. So that's okay. I think what he needs to do, what I've got to have Matt do, is come into our house someday and say, "Dad, you really need to spend more money on guns. You really need a few more guns for the safe." And I can see him doing that because he knows the inheritance is coming. The more guns I buy, the less money he'll have to spend. But I've got plenty. I do. My safe is well stocked. Yeah, and I've got a couple of ARs in there. No, I don't care what the hell Beto O'Rourke and Joe Biden think should they come to power. You aren't getting them. Hell no, you aren't taking my AR-15 and my AR-10. You aren't doing it. You're getting nothing out of my safe. Zero. I don't care what you think you have for power. I don't care if you repeal the Second Amendment. The right is not given by government. It is given by the Creator. Milan LaVey, come and take them, because that's the only way you'll get them. And if you come and take them, you ought to come well prepared, because I think I speak for all pro-American Second Amendment gun-toting people. It's not going to be a quick and easy task if you're going to take everybody's guns. Mandatory buyback. Give me a frickin' break. I'll give you a mandatory buyback. 11:12 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. Anyway, we celebrate our veterans today. Remember veterans. I've got something I was going to post. In fact, I'll post it now on my Facebook. I wrote it a couple of years ago for for American Women Who Bear Arms, which is another platform I run. And it says, and there's a picture of a woman in fatigues and a helmet. And it's a poem. I'd forgotten it was a poem. Here, let me read it to you now. I will post it later. It says, "Thank you for your selfless act of bearing arms and giving back, for sacrificing all that's dear to live in freedom without fear. You fly our colors high and proud. Your voice of liberty is loud. Your character is good and true. There's honor in the things you do. So thank you on this Veterans Day. For your safety, we do pray." And there it is. And it's a shareable. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share it on my personal page right now. It'll go up on American Women later. So if you want to share this, that would be good. And it doesn't have my name on it. I actually signed it with the organization American Women Who Bear Arms. Get it real quick. Oh, that was easy. I like the new Facebook desktop layout. You go to post a picture and it gives you a selection of the last ones you've downloaded. There it is. So if you want to share it, it's a good Veterans Day piece, I think. Not to blow my own horn, but I think it was a pretty good poem, and I love the image of the woman in fatigues there. We've got 11:14 here on Legacy 1160 WSKW, and so much to get to, so little time to do it. Lindsey Graham was on with Hannity on Monday night. Don't know if you caught this. Talking about a postal worker in Pennsylvania who signed an affidavit. And then I've got an update. I've got a very interesting update for you on one of these postal workers. Lindsey Graham was talking with Sean Monday about this affidavit a Pennsylvania postal worker signed claiming there was an effort to backdate ballots illegally. He also brought to light, Lindsey did, 25,000 ballots for nursing homes that were all requested at the same time. Lindsey Graham on Hannity.
The law is a means to an end. If it doesn't get you to where you want to go, you just ignore it. It's called the Carter Page warrant application. How many times do we have to see that when it comes to liberals and the Democratic machine, they want an outcome, the law be damned. So this man in Pennsylvania gave an affidavit to the Trump campaign. I've sent it to the FBI, the postal inspector. They're looking at it now. I've got more information. We're now finding potentially that 25,000 nursing home residents in different nursing homes requested mail-in ballots at the exact same time. You can't ballot harvest in Pennsylvania. What are the odds that 25,000 people in different locations of the same age group requested at the same time a ballot? The biggest difference between 2016 and 2020 is the mass use of voting by mail. It is the wild, wild west at post offices, and there are no rules. And if we don't come up with some rules pretty soon, we're going to get killed in perpetuity in presidential campaigns. And I worry about Georgia. I worry about the 2 Senate races in Georgia. Why do we want to run down every lead and count every vote? We got 2 elections in Georgia that will decide the fate of the nation.
Absolutely. And now their states are talking about eliminating the Electoral College again. What do you think that's going to do? What do you think that'll do for the Democrats? It's all about the Democrats. They could care less about the rest of us. The other half, the downtrodden half, the unintelligent, unintellectual half. We are a class that they are above and better than. The left truly believes without evidence that Donald Trump is ruining America. They truly believe it. And if that's what they truly believe, and I don't doubt that it certainly is, Why would they let the law stop them when it comes to an election? They feel that any means justifies the end, regardless of any collateral damage, who it hurts, who it kills. If the means justifies the end, they will use it. Like Lindsey Graham said, law be damned. That's one of Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. Make no mistake, they feel justified and righteous and breaking the law for the greater good. Now, this postal worker that Lindsey Graham was talking about, this is from Newsmax yesterday. The postal worker in Pennsylvania who said the postmaster in Erie instructed employees to backdate ballots mailed after Election Day has recanted his story, according to the Washington Post. But the postal worker, interestingly, said in a YouTube posting, he has not recanted. The postal worker, after the Washington Post said he has recanted his story, the postal worker did a YouTube video saying, I have not recanted. Are they really stooping this low? Are they writing their own narrative and using real people to do it? Lying, bald, because they're more powerful than a single guy. The Washington Post can publish it and everybody now believes it. They are trying to raise the ire of their followers, of their minions, the mindless who don't look elsewhere for objectivity. The claim by Richard Hopkins has been used by Republicans as potential evidence of widespread voter fraud in the Trump campaign. Now, Attorney General Bill Barr Monday issued a memo citing voting irregularities and authorizing federal prosecutors to pursue credible cases, of which there are many. According to the Washington Post, Hopkins on Monday, here it is, the Washington Post said Hopkins on Monday admitted to investigators from the U.S. Postal Service's Office of Inspector General that his allegations were not true and signed an affidavit recanting his claims. Democrat members of the House Oversight Committee tweeted on Tuesday, the whistleblower completely recanted. However, there is another side, and that other side is the actual postal worker, whose name is out there. He said he did not recant. Trump campaign spokesman Tim Murtaugh told the WAPO that Hopkins' statements were only a small part of the case in Pennsylvania anyway. So regardless of whether he recanted his story or not, that's just a microcosm of what they have. Erie Postmaster Rob Weissenbach has denied any allegations, calling them, of course, 100% false, because he's got to protect his butt, adding that they were made by an employee that was recently disciplined multiple times. So once again, for the truth, I went to Australia. That's where you have to go, you know. You have to go down under for the truth. You have to go to another country for the truth. Several times. In this case, in the case of the election, we aired a piece yesterday from Sky News, why Biden's presidency is an absolute horror in waiting, from Sky News. Tara Reid, remember Trump's accuser, who apparently she's disappeared from Kamala's radar now because Kamala has a chance to get power without opening her. Right? I'm sorry, yeah, I'm going to demean Kamala Harris because I think she's corrupt and evil. I see all these memes of these women. Look, this is a strong woman. And they've got her. This is a corrupt woman. This is a corrupt woman who let pedophile priests walk. Don't tell me there's a lot good about Kamala Harris. Oh, the most popular baby name is Kamala. Oh, we love it, says a former president of Planned Parenthood. Yeah, I wonder how many Kamalas will be killed by the organization you led for 12 years. So I went to Australia to Sky News, and they rebroadcast Richard Hopkins' denial of recanting the story. And they put little music underneath to make it a little bit more interesting. So here's Hopkins, the whistleblower on the Erie, Pennsylvania Postal Branch. And this is how he reacted to their saying that he recanted his story. Cut. Oh.
My name is Richard Hopkins. I am the postal employee who came out and whistle blew on the Erie, PA Postal Service, postal office. I am right at this very moment looking at an article written by Washington Post. It says that I fabricated the allegations of ballot tampering. I'm here to say that I did not recant my statements. That did not happen. That's not what happened. And you will find out tomorrow. And I would like that the Washington Post recant their wonderful little article that they decided to throw out there out of random.
All right, now I can't say out of hand the guy's telling the truth. But why would he come back and ask the Washington Post to recant their story about him recanting his whistleblowing activity? If he literally signed an affidavit, check the signatures. Check the signatures. If he lied, if he did recant his story and sign an affidavit, then shame on him. But if he didn't, shame on the Washington Post or whoever may have forged a signature. And would you put, again, it would be so easy for anybody to say, well, he recanted, he was lying because he's a Trump supporter. It would be easy to say, and maybe that's the case. Maybe that is the case. But because I will put nothing past the left, I would not doubt if they somehow forged this guy's signature. And a handwriting expert should be able to tell, I would think, in order to put this to rest, in order to save face for the Erie, Pennsylvania Postal Service and the postmaster and whoever else. And if it was a lie, then I guess the Erie Postal Service deserves an apology, as does the postmaster. But if it's not a lie, shame on whoever is doing this. And shame on the Washington Post for doing a story on it. But you've got a Jeff Bezos publication, a big lefty, and you've got the left-wing media, and you've got the leftists in politics, in political power, who love nothing more than to push this stuff. How much do I believe their intent is evil? How much do I personally believe? I'm going to say this again, and it doesn't sit well with some people, even some people on my own side, shake their head and say, you've got to be kidding me. I will say it again. I truly believe that somehow the Democrats and China, they colluded and allowed coronavirus to come here and kill people and rig the election. I truly believe that with all my heart. Everything worked too closely in concert. Everything was too convenient. Everything. From the end of the impeachment to the start of the coronavirus to the almost immediate talk about shutdowns and voting by mail. I mean, this is all too convenient. It is a corrupt government we're dealing with here. We cannot allow this. We have to be suspicious. They don't walk on water, nor should you think anybody does in any party. I'm not asleep. Maybe I'm more awake than most. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. But don't discount what I'm saying is faults out of hand because there's a lot of reasoning in my decision to make these statements. And everything is too convenient. And I look back at about the time coronavirus got underway. Remember the professor at Harvard, the 2 Chinese nationals, the vials of something going to Wuhan, China? Wow. How ironic. Not ironic, how coincidental. How coincidental is that? Oh, but it's all innocent. I'm sorry. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, and we may never know the truth, but these people are evil. And if you think otherwise, you're either one of them or you're not thinking far enough beyond what the media tells you. The media is not going to float this stuff. Fox News hardly talks about the investigations going on in the election, and they're still referring, as are all the other news outlets, with the exception of Newsmax, to Joe Biden as president-elect. He is not the president-elect, period. Stop calling him that. I refuse to call him the president-elect, and you should too. 1129 on Legacy 1160 WSKW. 621-9759, 207-621-9759. Sorry if I've missed a call. I've been cranked up this hour. 207-441-6969. You want to text us, 207-441-6969. Okay, let me see what... One commentator said, if Biden wins, Fox News will be reduced to a PBS-type channel. It was a few weeks ago. I think it was on Carlson's show. Really? On Tucker? They said that on Fox? No, it was about Fox. Tucker Carlson is one of the few. I mean, they've got others, too. I've got to tell you, on this Veterans Day, I do want to mention that another great American patriot at Fox News is Pete Hegseth. He's on Fox and Friends, and he does a lot of reporting. Pete Hegseth is the real deal. And if you haven't read his book, read it. It's an eye-opener. It really is. 1031 right now, Legacy 1160. Back right after this. Please don't go anywhere. I get a lot more to come.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
What a fantastic time to shop for fall items at Townline Antiques, where you'll find 2 floors and thousands of items throughout history. Townline Antiques has vintage signs, furniture, classic electronics, sports memorabilia, jewelry, coins, home decor, and much more. If you haven't been recently, there are new booths and lots of new items, including a full booth of Christmas goodies for anyone who wants to spread some early cheer. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is a wreck and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You want to get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust, and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
MOODY. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. Areas of fog this morning with some sun to start the day. Expect increasing clouds with a chance for showers this evening and tonight. One last warm day today, highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Clouds to developing sun tomorrow, highs in the 50s. Back to the 40s Friday and the weekend. Chance for showers Friday, mostly sunny Saturday.
Your pep rally for freedom is back. Powered by the Gun Shop in Augusta on Coney Circle. Now, here's John James.
Hey, welcome back. Back in the 2000 election, you remember that? You remember the Supreme Court? It came down to the Supreme Court. Of course, it was a lot less divisive. It was divisive, don't get me wrong, with Al Gore and George W. Bush, but wow. Not like this. It was only 500 and something votes separated the two. And the Supreme Court, and the rub, one of the rubs with Al Gore, of course, was that he won the popular vote. And this is why states want to get rid of the Electoral College, the liberal states, and we can't let that they are not going to change the Constitution. How can we let them? How can we let them? States will eventually, this is a headline from, I don't know where this is from, Milford Daily News, wherever that is. States will eventually abolish the Electoral College. Well, that would be stupid. That would be stupid. That would be un-American. That would be anti. You know what? They only care about the Constitution and the rule of law when it helps them win. There's a reason that you can win the popular vote and lose the Electoral College. There is a reason for that. Because the popular vote often goes to the Democrats because the urban areas, the big cities, the leftist elitists are all in those big cities, and they will always vote for the elitists, the intellectual, the ones that are better than us knuckle-dragging, gun-toting hillbillies. Destroy the Electoral College, destroy America. A Joe Biden presidency will be a good start. So, back to what we're talking about here. Jason Miller was on yesterday with Maria Bartiromo. Jason Miller is a Trump campaign advisor. She asked him, do you feel you've seen enough irregularities, enough what you're calling fraud in ballots to actually overturn what the media has called?
When you would hold votes open on the House floor.
So Jason, the question becomes, do you feel you have seen enough irregularities, enough what you're calling fraud in ballots to actually overturn what the media has called?
We believe so, yes, and particularly when it comes to Pennsylvania. The fact that President Trump and millions of Americans went to bed on Tuesday night seeing how big of a lead that he had, only to see that evaporate as new ballots were found. This, Maria, is going to be the future of American elections. It's almost like Tip O'Neill back in the 80s when he would hold votes open on the House floor until he would get enough votes to pass something. They will continue to hold these elections up until they find enough ballots. So not only do we have the transparency issue in Pennsylvania, where there's a reason why Democrats were rushing to get this done and not allow us to observe the counting. I think there are real concerns there. But take a look at Georgia. Take a look at the fact that they had ballot harvesting for the first time with thousands and thousands of harvested ballots. That's where people go around and collect them and bring them in. We believe that in this recount scenario, as we go through this process, that we have identified thousands of places where these ballots will get thrown out. This isn't even just about the president speaking to Georgia. We also need to do this to make sure the integrity of the election is secure for these Senate races coming up in Georgia as well. So this is a systemic issue all the way across the board, and it's real simple. Why is the media and why are Democrats rushing so fast to declare this? I mean, Maria, think back to 2000 and 2016, where the media encouraged Al Gore, even Hillary Clinton, to go and seek recounts, to go and pursue their legal remedies. But now that it's President Trump, they want him to just go away. That's not going to happen. We're going to pursue every legal recount remedy that we have in front of us. We're going to make sure that the American public can have full confidence in these elections.
Well, there you go. He knows what he's talking. The people on the ground for the Trump administration, the legal teams on the ground, know what's going on, and the mainstream media will not report on them. They will not talk about the fraud in the election. In fact, they are in full 100% denial there was any fraud. And they're trying to sway public opinion. MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all of them are trying to sway public opinion. Just accept the loss, Donald Trump. Accept the loss. Well, as I say, maybe it will turn out that Biden will still be our president. God help us. But he will be our president whether you voted for him or not, because we don't take the low road. When they go low, we go high. It's proven day after day by the lack of any violence when Joe Biden seemingly won the presidency. Did you see all the violence, the Trump supporters? No. Did they expect that, really? Or were they really preparing for a Trump win? I think that's more. I don't think they're stupid. I think they know where the rage is. It's not on the right, it's on the left. The unhinged, irrational, idiotic, insane behavior is all on the left because they don't think with their brains. Kayleigh McEnany doubled down yesterday on fraud in Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania, why Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania is huge. Pennsylvania is 20 electoral votes. If Pennsylvania got flipped, and it's very close, and this is why the media does. I'm thinking there are so many people out there who will not. Well, maybe they'll watch Fox now that Fox is going more left. I'm seeing even Brian Stelter on CNN praised Fox News the other day for calling Arizona and for the polling. He praised Brian Stelter, who wrote an anti-Fox News book, who hates Tucker Carlson to the moon and back. Said something nice about Fox News because they're more aligning with. When Brian Stelter of CNN gives credit to Fox News, Fox is jumping the shark. So I'm thinking if these races really are as close as the numbers look like they are, and I believe the numbers that I'm seeing because they're the same from source to source, I'm thinking all of these lemmings, all of these sheep that are watching, that are just sucking down the President-elect Joe Biden. There is no fraud. It was a free and fair election. Won't those people be shocked if Donald Trump pulls out a win? Won't they be shocked? Because they aren't going to see it coming. Because they're being spoon-fed the narrative that Joe Biden's the president-elect. He wants to put his transition team together. Trump won't let him. What they're doing is greasing the skids for a lot more violence. Because they're not seeing the people on the ground who are slowly, methodically trying to get to the truth. They're just going to wake up one day and hear from their media source that Donald Trump just stole the election. And then all hell's going to break loose. It may happen, it may not. So Kayleigh McEnany explained what Pennsylvania Democrats were doing during the election. They were blatantly and illegally trying to hide what was going on. Now, are we as Americans going to let them get away with that? I'm asking you. Here's Kayleigh McEnany explaining it.
Philadelphia poll watchers who are legally permitted to be there and observe the vote count were blocked from observing the count. Our poll watchers were put behind barricades in a massive room. They were many feet from the counting process. And in fact, when you look at all of the tables, many hundreds of feet, in fact, from the tables in the very back. They were completely in the dark, completely unable to oversee the vote count, as was their legal right.
Okay. I'm cutting that short because I got a lot I want to get to here. And now, much to the dismay of Biden supporters, Kaylee said the election is far from over. The mainstream media won't even air this. Here is the full audio you weren't able to hear when we played it yesterday because Neil Cavuto of Fox News stopped it because McEnany was being too accusatory without proof, according to Neil Cavuto, who I guess is the overseer of truth.
This election is not over. Far from it. We have only begun the process of obtaining an accurate, honest vote count. We are fighting for the rights of all Americans who want to have faith and confidence, not only in this election, but in the many elections to come. There is only one party in America that opposes voter ID. One party in America that opposes verifying signatures, citizenship, residency, eligibility. There is only one party in America trying to keep observers out of the count room. And that party, my friends, is the Democrat Party. You don't take these positions because you want an honest election. You don't oppose an audit of the vote because you want an accurate count. You don't oppose our efforts at sunlight and transparency because you have nothing to hide. You take these positions because you are welcoming fraud and you are welcoming illegal voting.
They will stop at nothing. They won't. They won't. They literally, I believe, allow people to die in order to get their way. Do you think voter fraud is above them? Think again. This should come as no surprise to anybody on the right. If leftists are in denial about voter fraud on a large scale this year, then they're oblivious to the palpable hatred that drives the people who want Trump out. Now, I've said for more than a year, expect widespread voter fraud. I've said it over and over again. I fully expected it. This is no surprise to me. And in fact, I would have been surprised if there were no calls of voter fraud. And I said that before COVID-19 came. I don't know what they would have done without COVID-19. That's why I believe COVID-19 was almost welcomed by the Democrats, secretly, of course, but almost welcomed by the Democrats. Shut things down, destroy the economy, cause mail-in voting to be the law of the land. Hopefully it didn't, thankfully, but in a lot of jurisdictions it did. I think it's so much more sinister. They don't care about lives. They care about power and control. So I've been telling you to expect widespread voter fraud. This is why I think the Democrats and China worked in concert, had knowledge of what would happen if the pandemic came to our shores. And therefore, they were none too quick to do anything about it. Remember, China wanted Joe Biden. The Democrats wanted Joe Biden. The Chinese flu came from, where'd that come from? Oh, that's right. It came from China. The WHO conspired with Xi Jinping, the leader of China, didn't even let Thailand know, or Taiwan know, right next door, because they're not part of the communist in crowd. But I wouldn't doubt for a minute if there were some politicians here in America who knew. I don't think for a minute it was just Xi Jinping and Dr. Tedros, who is a non-doctor of the WHO. I think somebody in here in America knew. And I think it was somebody on the left, or maybe more than one. Maybe a professor from Harvard. Maybe Nancy Pelosi. Maybe Chuck Schumer. Maybe Adam Schiff. I think they knew. And I think they were all too ready for coronavirus to come in so they could look like heroes and make Donald Trump look like a zero. And then blame him for everything. You're not going to hear this anywhere else, I guarantee it. Nowhere. But don't discount it. I'm not a fool. Remember Dr. Fauci downplayed the virus, said masks don't help? How long has he been a doctor? How long has he been a doctor? And he said masks aren't going to help. You don't need to wear a mask. New York City officials encourage people to go to Chinatown to celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year, the year of the rat. I know where the rats are. They're right on the Democratic side of Congress. That's where the rats are. But they encourage people in New York to go to Chinatown to celebrate. In late February, Nancy Pelosi was in San Francisco's Chinatown, maskless, in large crowds, encouraging people to come on down.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi told me she came here to Chinatown to combat fear.
That's what we're trying to do today, is to say everything is fine here. Come, because precautions have been taken.
Yeah.
The city is on top of the situation.
She's not wearing a mask.
People are concerned about China.
But that shouldn't be carried over to Chinatown and San Francisco. I hope that it's not that. But all I can say is I'm here. We feel safe and sound, so many of us coming here.
Okay, first of all, that was disingenuous. That was foolish. That was, I don't know what that was. Obviously, Chinatown in San Francisco is going to be no worse than any other town in the country as coronavirus. So she's virtue signaling by going to Chinatown. Why would people be nervous to go to Chinatown if they're not nervous to go to the store? I mean, it's an American town. It's just in an area where there are a lot of Chinese people living. But she's there maskless with big crowds. Come on down. Now, remember, this is late February. Late February. Nancy, I'm a virtue signaler. I'm better than you, Pelosi, with my ice cream in my San Francisco mansion, while the rest of the city has to go poop in the streets and dispose of their hypodermic needles in the streets, while I sit here eating my Dove ice cream out of my $50,000 pair of freezers. Come on down, she says. No mask, no precautions, no nothing. All the while, Joe Biden in early March is calling Donald Trump xenophobic after he closed down travel from China and Europe. Clearly, Biden, even in March, thought it was racist to stop travel. Yet somehow his plan would have been better. Do you remember this?
The World Health Organization now has officially declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Downplaying it, being overly dismissive, or spreading misinformation is only going to hurt us and further advantage the spread of the disease. But neither should we panic or fall back on xenophobia. Labeling COVID-19 a foreign virus does not displace accountability for the misjudgments that have been taken thus far by the Trump administration.
No, you're right. I think it should maybe be called the Chinese American virus, because I think some Americans, namely the far left, was in on it. How about that, Joe? Is that more truth than advertising? Does that sit better with you? These things weren't by accident. Too convenient. The timing is way too convenient. I urge you to think about this. And it's all playing out just like they wanted it to. Not just like they wanted it to. Had it played out like they wanted it to, Trump would have been gone in the first year. When they brought up Stormy Daniels and the Russia hoax. If it played out the way but it didn't. And the Ukraine didn't play out the way they wanted it to. It came back more on Biden than Trump. And they tried impeachment. That didn't play out the way they wanted it to, but they had a backup plan. It was COVID-19, and that is working just like they expected. Now, unless these are voice impressions I just played for you, you are hearing people in their own words asking you to believe they never said it. And sadly, some on the left are all too willing to nod in compliance. Yeah, okay, Joe. Xenophobic, Come to Chinatown, it's not dangerous, Okay, Nancy. Late February and March. It had been a month since Donald Trump had stopped travel to China. And Joe Biden was calling him a xenophobe in March. But Joe would have done better. Pray tell, how? $11.52 here on Legacy 1160. Oh, but wait, there's more. I want to get to this. A couple more things I got to get to here. And, okay, we got to take a quick break. Trust me, you don't want to go anywhere. I'll be right back.
AM 1160, WSKW.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff here from K-Tronics, your local TV expert, and I want to tell you about Dish TV. If technology, value, and customer satisfaction are important to you, then it's time to cut the cable cord once and for all. Upgrade your TV experience and start saving with Dish today. Drop by K-Tronics at 57 Main Street in Madison. Call 207-696-3200 or visit us on the web at ktronicsmain.com. We are K-Tronics, your locally owned, operated, and trusted satellite TV experts.
Many things have changed with COVID-19, and Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union would like to thank all of their members for adhering to the changes. Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union has moved forward with reopening some of their lobbies. In accordance with appropriate CDC guidelines, the Farmington and Skowhegan branches now have access to limited services in their lobbies. They also highly recommend continued use of their drive-through services, teller phone, night deposit, easy banking, and mobile banking for everyday transactions and appointments for loans or new accounts at both Farmington and Skowhegan, as well as their other branches in Kingfield, Stratton, and Madison. The safety of their members and their staff is of utmost concern. They'd like to thank you for your patience and your cooperation in helping them as we work through these unusual circumstances and develop newer and safer ways to meet your financial needs. Visit them on the web at f-sfcu.com. Franklin Somerset Federal Credit Union, where their most important member is you. Member SCUA and an equal housing lender.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Center.
If your car is wrecked and you don't know where to go,
take it to Moody's.
You wanna get on with your life, get on with the show,
take it to Moody's.
Good people you can trust and it won't be a fuss.
Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
M-O-O-D-Y. Your kid was talking on the cell phone, drove right through your own home, sitting in the parking lot. Maybe you get hit a lot, driving through the green light. Suddenly your side swipe, put it in reverse, but it turned out that it was first.
Take it to Moody's. Take it to Moody's Collision Centers.
Welcome back. 11:56. John James here. Got to get to a couple other things, and we've got to do it fairly quickly. But I definitely want to get to these things. The first one is Laura Ingraham last night. Voter fraud allegedly committed in Nevada. I mean, all these states, all these important states, and people coming out and telling, because people see things. People see things. And they're coming out and they're trying to make it known. And I love this. Now, according to a Clark County poll worker, what she witnessed was shocking. She was on the Ingraham angle last night. The whistleblower, whose identity was hidden and whose voice was modified at her request, told Ingraham that she noticed white envelopes being passed around and ripped open near a Biden-Harris van while on a walk during her lunch break. Now, I've edited the audio down quite a bit because she repeated herself a lot during the interview. So this is only going to be a couple of minutes of the whole thing. This is all you need to hear, though. You'll get the gist of what the woman witnessed as she walked in this parking lot during her break. Listen.
I went out to go for a walk on my break, and I probably had a 150, 175-foot stretch where I was walking. The Biden van was parked along this stretch, and I was walking to it. So about 150 feet, I was walking, and I could see these people hand over what appeared to be white envelopes, just hand over onto this table. And as I got closer, the envelopes were being torn open. There were two people dropping the envelopes and two people ripping them open and turning and facing the van and drawing on them or marking them. And as I got closer, as I was walking, they would put things down and pick more paper up and mark on the van, and then put it down and pick some more up. And as I got closer, I thought, those are ballots. And I didn't, I was in my polling uniform, basically. And as I walked by, I looked and I thought, those are ballots. And it kind of was an odd, like, what are they doing? There were 4 total people, but only 2 were marking and opening the envelopes and the paper. And as it took about a 6-minute walk to walk this parking lot, and I did it. I just walked my entire lunch hour. And so I came around the second time, and they're still opening and marking the ballots. And this time when I walk by, 5 and 6 people come and form like their backs to me, but now I can't see what they're doing. And as I walk by, one of them looks at me, and the whole line moves as I walk by them. And it scared me. It was
like to form a wall, to form a wall, just so people understand, to form a wall, so you believe, so you couldn't see.
Shoulder, right, so if you're standing shoulders to 5 people standing shoulders to shoulder facing the 4 people that are on the inside. So I couldn't see what they were doing now because they were all walking in. As I walked by them, the wall moved.
The wall moved. A Biden-Harris van, ballots, blocking view. Think all these people are liars? Well, if they are, I hope it's found out. If they are, I hope it's found out. Now, that would be deplorable. I'd be the first to say that would be deplorable. Because the last thing I want, whether it's my side or not, is people to waste my time with lies. However, if these anecdotal stories from all over the United States and these swing states are true, this needs to be investigated and found out. And I believe, and I will believe until the final judgment is made, that this could turn the election. And if you pray, I encourage you to pray to God that the truth sees the light and that due justice is had for the sake of you, me, our families, and our country. And that's all we've got time for. So much more to get to, but just no time today. We'll do it again tomorrow, though, starting at 9 o'clock, 9 to noon. Share the video, share the audio. Thank you for being here. Mike Violette's going to be here with you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 6 o'clock. 6 hours of live local talk every weekday morning. Glad to bring it to you. Glad to be a part of your life. Thank you. I'm John James. Have a great afternoon.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Elizabeth Schulze. Georgia heading for a recount in the presidential race. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger announcing a hand recount of all the ballots, with former Vice President Joe Biden leading by about 14,000 votes.
We have all